every time I come in the kitchen, you in the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Morning Dinner Podcast. It's your boy Keem Chuck, and we host the Morning Dinner Podcast based out of Las Vegas. We sit down with creatives, entrepreneurs, and hustlers and just have conversations. Today we got Danny and Rachel in the house. What up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Danny and Rachel. Well, actually, I was going to kind of say who they are, but do you guys real quick want to let people know who are tuning in, who you are and what you do?
Absolutely.
We're a directing, producing team. We come from a filmmaking background. She went to UNLV Film School, and I did reality travel shows.
Nice. Reality TV shows? Like?
Yeah, like...
you said travel.
Travel, yeah.
Travel, okay.
But like with a cast and there's drama.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did that journey begin of getting into that realm of things? Because I've heard like reality travel, or I don't know necessarily travel, but I know reality TV show that people have like their stigma against it. Was it something you wanted to do?
Yeah. When I was 20, I got this chance to go on a trip driving from Berlin, Germany to Cape Town, South Africa. And I basically got to go because they were needing an editor on the road to kind of put together webisodes, and they would try and get it sold afterwards. So they got it sold to Travel Channel. And after that, that's when I met Rachel.
Yeah.
I was actually in the process of editing. It ended up being called Wreck Trek because it was supposed to be junk cars, basically seeing if we could get them the whole way. Just like piece of crap cars that fell apart the whole time.
We're trying to see if you can get those cars all the way where?
To South Africa.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was like 10,000 miles. It was like 16 countries.
Wait, but you were still in South Africa at the time?
No. I was in the cars.
You were editing. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was editing on the road, and then halfway through I picked up camera.
Nice. And at what point did you end up meeting Rachel?
Right after that, when I got back to Vegas.
Yeah. So when we met through social media means, so Facebook, so he had just gotten back from Africa. So all of his photos showed up in that little news feed section, and I didn't know him. And we had some mutual friends. So his picture showed up from Africa, and I was in film school at the time. And I still was in film school. So we had that commonality, and is commonality a word? Common sense? No. Something.
Yeah, like commonality.
Commonality, right? That's a word, right? So we had that commonality. So I reached out and just said, hey, how did you get to do this stuff? This stuff seems really amazing. We have a mutual friend. And then we started hanging out. He was in my first short film that I did at UNLV. It was a very silly zombie 48-hour film that I did with some local filmmakers here that are
nice.
Danny Shepard. So it's kind of funny. That we ended up kind of bonding over that, and 2 weeks later we were dating, and now 9 years later we're still together. So
nice. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to misunderstand it. Are you guys married or are you guys dating?
We're married. Yeah.
You guys are married. Yeah. You guys have been married for...
We got married about 2 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, 2 years
first
today.
of all, congratulations, you guys.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Hey, thanks.
What's the dynamic being a creative power couple?
Oh man.
We're still new at it.
Yeah.
We're figuring it out. She has been. Well, do you want to tell them like what you've been doing the last 6 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love that the words that you said about power couple, because that's kind of the thing that we just try and do what we want to do and do things creatively together. I think it's Christopher Nolan and his wife are like a producer director team, and we're not anywhere near that level, obviously, but we're trying, and I think just having those creative energies and those creative juices together, I don't know, it's been really cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys work on every project together, or do you guys have like your own things going on, or how does that work?
For a long time, I was doing freelance editing and visual effects. And just recently, in the last 6 months, we've been doing, we've done 2 music videos together now. And she's helped me with editing and stuff on, projects throughout the years. So.
Yeah, I think it kind of came about where he was working on a lot of these projects, and the grind of editing, it's just really daunting. He's looking at all the footage all the time, and so I had my film background, so it just kind of was really easy transition into that. And then as we started doing these music videos, for Sonia, and we also have done something for Paige Overton here in town, we just found like, wow, it's really cool to be able to work with your significant other and do something that you're really passionate about. And then, you know, my background's also in script supervising. So that transition from script supervising into being a producer was really easy, just because you have to organize, you have to really prioritize, you obviously have to communicate with a lot of different people. And my background was in film and broadcast journalism. So I had a huge communication background. And I also have retail management experience of over 100 different employees too. So just that leadership and that management kind of all came hand in hand with all that. So
yeah, I feel when they say script supervising, Chuck, it starts feeling like a legit thing. Script super to me is like, because we've always, like, Chuck and I, we've wanted to do like a short film, right?
Yeah.
But our biggest weakness is like actually sitting down,
screenwriting, and
coming up with, not only just coming up with, we have an idea, but it's like putting it on paper.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how do you write a script? You guys mentioned on your bio that you guys were originally working on a short film together, right? What was that short film about?
Okay, so I guess in a nutshell, okay, so we met after I got back from Africa. I was working on cutting the show together, like a 24-minute episode every 2 weeks. She was doing camera at Channel 8, and right after that. After she graduated, we ended up going to Thailand for a little while. We actually moved to Bangkok.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when we got there, we had found out that one of the shows we were going to be working on there, the funding had actually fallen through. So we had made all these plans to move, out of the country, basically leave Vegas and, not look back.
Sold all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Just to start this
when you say
life.
Sold all your stuff, you mean like all the essentials?
Everything. No, my car, I quit my job. We only had, a couple thousand saved. So as soon as we got out there and the funding fell through, it was like, oh man.
We got a couple thousand to get back to Vegas.
Real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, like, we just, when you're leaving a city and you're excited, you have that excitement. And then when reality sinks in, we're like, okay, now, I'm really faced with a dilemma. What do I do? So we came back to Vegas, and this is kind of where the short film came about.
Yeah. So we came back to Vegas about 6 years ago, and we moved into an apartment downtown because we were basically saying, like, we're going to make a feature film once and for all. We're just going to make our first movie.
And this was 2000.
This was 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So we moved into this older apartment complex and had the intention of, I was writing a script that ballooned to like 180 pages in like the first couple of months. And so the whole project was just kind of becoming too big and too daunting, and it wasn't really coming together. I was kind of doing it by myself. So eventually we kind of realized that we had something more interesting just kind of right in front of us. We were hearing that the apartment complex was going to get sold, and we decided that we were going to interview the tenants. And we sat down with all the neighbors that we'd been using for camera tests. We were the youngest people there by 20 years, at least.
Some of them even more. Like they were in their 50s, 60s, and
all elderly tenants.
Yeah.
And this was an apartment complex downtown. Which apartment complex was it?
Yeah, like what are the main?
Well, unless you guys still live there, then I don't want to.
No,
give anybody's people your location.
No, we don't live there still. It still exists. It's called Desert Cactus. It's off of 10th Street and Bridger. But now it's completely remodeled and renovated, as a lot of those places are downtown.
Yeah.
Nice and hip now.
Yeah, so they was $600, and then they jacked up that rent to about $1,200. So at that point, though, it was a little bit.
They don't get
beyond our means.
grandfathered in.
And they're like, nah.
No, because they needed to renovate the apartment too. So it was like, we just knew we had to move out. But we made sure, we got everybody to sit down in front of the camera and kind of like ask them about their, how they ended up in Vegas and how long they've been here.
That's so dope.
Because a lot of them would have been here for how long, right?
The manager grew up here.
Yeah.
Actually, he's seen it change a lot. So
yeah, he had stories of he was a contractor, so he did a lot of construction. So he had stories of when they first got the contract of Summerlin being bought and sold out there. So he was the first part of Summerlin before it was even a thing out in Summerlin. And he just talked about going to the edge of, I think it was like Charleston and Decatur, and it was just desert everywhere. He'd just run out there with his bike, and it just puts into perspective how much Las Vegas has changed even in the last 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah,
and
it's a lot.
Yeah, I used to have this coworker when I used to work at Radio Shack who would tell me she had photos of like maybe I think it was like the late 60s, early 70s of Las Vegas. And I don't know if you guys know where Bonanza and Bonanza and Eastern are at.
Yeah.
That was all desert. Like she was showing me the photos. I was like, whoa,
Wow.
That's
this is
trippy.
nuts. And that was only like, you know, it was less than 40 years ago, you know,
Wow.
at the time. But yeah, sorry, continue, guys.
Oh, no, good.
I'm actually, I was going to say, I'm actually like a third generation Las Vegas native.
Really?
Yeah. So my grandfather and
wow.
my dad were born here, but they were born in, well, now it's the Medical Arts Center, or it's just called you know where the Beat is?
Yeah.
That used to be a hospital.
Oh,
So they were
Yeah,
actually
like a
born
real.
there,
Man,
yeah.
that's so
Like,
trippy.
Wait,
legit
you
hospital,
say
they were
you say
actually
you're
born.
third generation.
Third generation. Now they've moved back and forth between here and Reno and Carson.
Right, but that's still like, you know, if
Yeah.
you're talking about third generation, that's, you know, early 1900s, right? That's
Yeah.
before there were, I don't know, were there any casinos that long ago? Like,
No, wasn't it just like a little cowboy town? Maybe.
Well, a lot of the casinos that were there back then aren't around anymore.
I'm pretty
thinking
ignorant.
about the 1900s.
I'm
like,
pretty
literally, like,
ignorant.
1901.
What was the first casino in Las Vegas that was ever? Do you guys know? Like, what was?
Oh, it would have been 1905. I feel like that's because we celebrated the
Damn, for
centennial in
reals?
2005. So I don't know if that was the
Yeah.
first casino, but that's definitely when we.
Because I thought like 1940, like that's when 1930 they started building like casinos and all that.
Yeah.
Or something. I
Whenever
don't know.
Frank
I might be
Sinatra was
lying.
around, that's when like it was popping.
1930 maybe.
No, there was a big boom, absolutely around like the 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
But up until then, yeah, we were just kind of like a stop between Salt Lake and
Yeah.
LA. Yeah.
We should have just on the side note, we should have a historian that kind of tells.
That would be tight.
Yeah,
Be
that would be
so
dope.
cool.
Just to learn about the history of Las Vegas.
Well, you
'Cause-
can go to the old Mormon fort. It's still there. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's on North Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah.
The old Mormon fort.
Yeah.
What's that?
It is like the first settlement here in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah. it's
I
still
thought it
there.
was that thing on is that thing all the way down Charleston, that Mormon church?
There's a
Or
bunch
was that
of
just
them. I heard that
Oh.
back in the day, like Las Vegas was run by the Mormon Church.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
the
funded
Mormon
everything.
Church and the mafia, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of
yeah.
an interesting matchup
A
there.
lot of funding. Yeah. Coming
Well,
from
because
both.
if you go to like the corners of Las Vegas, you'll see these big old like chapels with the, you know, whatever their cross sign thing is. It's pretty dope, man. We have
Yeah.
one on the east side, and it's kind of like a landmark.
Because I seen that Vice
Yeah.
documentary on it. They basically spoke about that, and that's where I learned like the Mormons were like funding all the mafia.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Damn, that's
Yeah.
trippy.
And what was I gonna say? It's always interesting when you watch old movies like from the 80s or 70s, and you get to see like what Las Vegas looked like back in the day.
Oh,
And it's
man.
like, oh, that's not even there anymore, you know?
Yeah.
We were watching a Corvette Summer, which is a Mark Hamill. It's like right after he did, was it Return of the Jedi? I think.
No, it was right after he did the first Star Wars.
Yeah, so the first Star Wars, he did A New Hope, and then he did this movie called Corvette Summer, and it's based in Las Vegas. So he's driving down what would be Fremont Street, so where Public Us is at, and where the Ferguson's downtown is. It's
Yeah.
not there. It's just the original motels, but it's just really crazy to see how much
It's amazing to see that. Yeah.
amazing. You can drive down that street, and it's so different.
Yeah.
you know?
That's why
So trippy.
I always say like always save your photos and save
Totally.
your footage, because you never know when looking back it might be like a national treasure to have stuff like that. Because I watch like sometimes I get into this like deep YouTube rabbit hole where I'm like, I wonder what Germans looked like in 1905, or what's the oldest video footage that's
Yeah,
ever
they
been
have like
captured,
that
right?
colored footage in like
Yeah.
New York, and you're like,
Have you
That's
guys
just trippy.
side note, have you guys ever seen that video clip that's on YouTube? It's like I think they put a camera in San Francisco or near San Francisco, and they just had it going down this road, and you see all these people walking by it, and it's like some of the
I've
oldest
seen one
footage.
for New York. It was
It's
like
from-
19.
New
Yeah.
York one.
Yeah.
yeah, I seen that New York
Yeah.
one. I was like, whoa, this is trippy. It looked fake.
Peter
It did.
Jackson.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson
this
did a
is
really
cool.
good documentary last year called "They Shall Not Grow Old," and it's basically a colorized, speed-corrected footage of World War One, and
amazing.
they also mixed in. They did Foley work and mixed in sound effects for.
That is so trippy
all
when they
this old World War
recolor
One
an
footage.
entire thing. So they
It's-
literally have to do frame by frame, right? Like literally just paint each frame.
It's
Frame by
incredible
frame.
because you see like old footage
Photo,
and it's
yeah.
kind of like sped up, because it's hand cranked, so you don't actually have the 24 frames a second. It's a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like 18 or 16 or something like that.
So they fixed it. I'm telling you, it's one of the best documentaries I've seen.
Ooh,
It really is.
definitely gonna
Really
check that
good.
out.
I
Yeah,
put that on the list.
because you've never seen 100-year-old footage feel that real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
trippy watching anything that's that old, because you're like, man, these people
Are dead.
and then their
Really?
children and their children's children are probably dying. You know, like it's
Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah, they're all gone.
Definitely.
you know, it's so it almost feels like an alien planet, right? Because also like the architecture and everything that's around there is just a completely different world, and how much has been remodeled since.
Well, with the documentary that we're doing now, you know, it's kind of amazing to see like how much downtown has changed even in the last 6 years.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know,
And I think it's only going to get crazier.
Yeah.
You know, because right now we've talked about it with so many guests, is that we feel like the culture of Vegas downtown period is changing and evolving so fast that like you said, in like 5 or 10 years, there might be new buildings. You know what I mean? That, you know.
yeah.
So getting back to your documentary, you guys were it was 2013. You guys were making this documentary, and what ends up happening?
Well, we didn't really start making the documentary until about 2 years ago. That's when we sat down and interviewed everybody. In the meantime, we were just trying to make the feature, and it just wasn't happening. But I was doing like freelance editing and stuff on the side. Actually, I was doing if you go to I think it's the Atomic, or it might be at Rebar. I've done the videos for both of them, the ones that they show on their TV.
Oh,
So it was Atomic. They have a video playing that basically shows all these clips of old Vegas. And so that's kind of where I started really getting this fascination with like looking at old movies that, you know, document the past and show the things that we don't really have anymore. So, yeah.
Nice. And I could kind of tell with both of you guys right now that like you guys have this fascination with watching movies. Do you guys watch movies together all the time, or do you guys?
Gosh.
Or are you guys able to, or do you guys critique movies when you watch
Oh
them?
my gosh.
I mean-
he's made me so terrible. I used to be one of those. Okay, so when I was in school, I remember I used to have "I Love You, Man" like on the loop, you know. And "I Love You, Man's" funny, but
Is it the one with Paul Rudd?
yeah,
I
you know,
love that movie.
and
Slapping the Bass Man.
slapping the bass,
Yeah,
you
that's
know. And it's ridiculous, right? But not a great. It's a good movie, but not something you're gonna watch all the time, right? And so I'm in film school watching a lot of films, and then I meet this guy, and oh my gosh, if you like, he helped me even with my film history. He knows so much about film, and he makes me passionate to talk about it, you know. And he has a list of every movie that we've watched for the last, is it 3 years? How many years has it been?
Starting in 2017, I've been keeping every movie.
Do you rate them?
Director, I don't rate them.
Oh, okay, good job.
But, yeah, that would be
disrespectful.
too
Kind of a
hard.
slippery slope.
I've been getting lazy.
Subjective.
I've been wanting to do that. Like, right, I always wonder, like, how many movies have I ever watched?
You do
And
watch a lot.
I watch a lot, bro. And so what I started doing is that what I do now is I'll just I'll buy them and I'll download them. So it's like now I know which ones I watch. You know.
Yeah,
important.
since I started the list in 2017, we're getting to about 900 movies now
Yeah.
that we've watched. Yeah, and short films too.
I was about to brag about my 100 movie collection. I was like, damn, 900.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing that takes up the most space in the trailer.
Yeah, the movies. I mean, it's fun too because we just go through all different genres. It's kind of silly, but we just discovered the library again. So the library, you obviously can rent movies there for free. And so we've been running a lot of movies from the 20s, 30s. Before we came here, we were watching a summer stock movie with Judy Garland and not Fred Astaire. Who's the other
Gene
guy?
Kelly.
Gene
Wait,
Kelly.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did you say we can rent movies for free from the library?
Yeah.
Yeah,
the library card,
I didn't
right?
know that.
The library card.
I haven't been to the library in so long
So long.
that I completely forgot they had movies.
yeah. So we've been getting a lot of.
Do they
movies
have
from
a
the library?
Do they have a limit on how many movies you can rent
It's probably like 16.
20.
Is it 20?
20.
at a
It's
time?
20.
At a
Okay.
time. But it's like a 7-day limit, so then you got to return them. But you can renew them too. So we watched a funny Eddie Murphy movie and Nick Nolte from the 80s.
Yeah, 48 Hours.
It wasn't,
buddy cop
it
movie.
wasn't good.
No, I still think Lethal Weapon is the best. It's the best buddy cop movie. But anyway, kind of brushed over the fact that we're living in a trailer now.
Yeah.
We're living in
Yeah.
a fifth wheel trailer.
And where's that? Where's that exactly? Like parked at?
Well, so we're renting it. So we don't actually own it. It was already there on the lot. But it's like Maryland Parkway.
Okay.
It's downtown. Yeah, and we've done the last 2 music videos actually out of that spot. Just kind of doing the effects work in the trailer. The last one that we did for Sony, we were able to shoot at Spacecraft Studios
For the green screen parts?
for the green screen
Okay.
stuff. Yeah. But
I was going to say, damn, how'd you get all those green screen shots? Because I was like,
Yeah.
it's so tiny.
yeah.
I was like, damn, these shots are good.
Well, and then for Paige's video, we shot in her garage. So
Oh,
it's just
perfect.
been small, small green screens.
Before we move on to the video that you guys shot for Sonia, because that's how we heard about you guys. So we had Sonia on an episode a couple episodes ago, and she mentioned that you guys were this couple like that were making short films or like music videos together, and we had to have you on. But I want to talk about the freelance that you guys are used to doing versus what you do now. When you guys first started out, you told me that you were doing travel reality, TV. You were at a Channel 8 news station, Rachel?
Yeah, so I was doing production. It's like studio management, production, and also producing for Channel 8.
Did you ever do like freelance projects where it's like, somebody needed a commercial for their local donut shop or music video or weddings? Just talk about weddings.
Not me. He mostly did a lot of the freelance stuff. So I would say he'd probably be able to speak a little bit more about his freelance stuff that he did, because I was still working at Channel 8 and also was in college. At UNLV.
Okay. So what was Rachel? Would you say that your strongest is more like the editing side of things too, or? I
would say, at least for being a producer, my forte would be in the organization and prioritization of the project. So coordinating with the people, I like mentioned earlier with the script supervising. Like I love analytically looking at a project and trying to figure out, okay, what budget are we going to need to get this project done? How can I really support Danny's vision? Because, you need a strong producer that can really buy into what the director, is thinking about. And so, since we're married too, that just comes really easily.
See, that's super dope. Because so you learned probably a lot of that from Channel 8 and all that?
Channel 8, my background's in leadership too. So I have a bunch of retail management experience. I've managed over 100 different employees. And you help them build plans, you help them try and achieve their goals. And so it was a pretty easy match to try and help us achieve our goals of wanting to be filmmakers and me wanting to pursue being a producer. So
I would say that's our biggest weakness, is being able to look at a project and produce it, because we can do the technical very, very easily, right? The shooting, the editing, but when it comes to the producing, the script writing, the kind of overseeing the project, that's where we kind of fall short.
Yeah, we're like,
and it's kind of dope.
I don't want to do this no more.
That's kind of what keeps us from doing a lot of projects, and I think it's dope that you guys are a couple and you guys work on projects together.
Like how? One question I have is like, how do you guys stay motivated and like inspired to keep doing a certain project?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Well, okay, so like take for example the video that we did before Sonia's for Paige Overton. That was more a video of necessity. We actually got invited to do a music video for the Music Video Lab that the Las Vegas Film Festival puts on.
Oh, tight.
And so they gave us a budget of like $400, and we had a trip to Philadelphia planned. This was actually just like a year ago now, really.
About a year.
And that was coming up in about 2 weeks. So we did the whole video in about 2 weeks from basically meeting with the artist, doing the storyboards, and then turning those into animatics, because we have to have those to work off of. That's basically our shot list. And then, shooting and editing all in 2 weeks. And Sonia's video was, it was more complicated than that.
Yeah.
But essentially still the same process, just kind of spread out over more time, because there were more people.
2 weeks is so fast though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes I don't even edit the project for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting on the project from a month ago. I was gonna say, since we're on the topic of like budgeting, what can you guys talk about when it comes to the topic of micro budgeting to scaling? How do you make a budget work? How do you analyze a budget? How does that in your guys? And this might be a little bit more your alley, Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm going to use Sonia's video as an example. Our budget, we had a really minimal budget for that, but we wanted to approach it from, okay, what resources do we have? We knew we had a studio space. So that in itself, shout out to Noel who runs Spacecraft Studios. He was really big and integral in helping us shoot there. And then we figured out, okay, so, we want to do something that's period piece related. We have a silent film inspired George Méliès concept that we had come up with. And Sonia was really great in giving us all these ideas about being a mermaid. And we're like, okay, mermaid video on a budget. How are we going to do this? How are we going to approach it? So a lot of our budget went to the costume. So the costume was handmade by myself. The costume that Sonia's wearing was just made out of stuff that you can find at any local craft store. Joann's, Michael's, we went there so many different times and they knew us by name by the time, every time we came in there. We use hot glue guns. Danny did some sculpting. So that sea monster that you see in the video is made completely out of clay and aluminum foil.
Damn, that's so tight.
Yeah. And
So that's how you budget. You do it yourself.
do it
do it
yourself.
yourself.
Damn.
Yeah.
But you guys are really
But
good
that's
at what you guys do.
I would
so.
say that's something that stops. I'm gonna call us normies, regular people, because we don't have that kind of like technical ability to be able to create like an outfit or like a sculpture or something like that. Was that something that you grew up like already doing?
Yeah. So
Okay.
before I went and pursued film at UNLV, I was wanting to be a fashion designer since I was 10, 13 years old. So my grandmother taught me how to cross stitch, and she taught me how to sew. And I remember making bags when I was in high school, just like little bags for my friends, little tote bags and stuff like that, very small. And then when we, coming up with the concept for the mermaid, I never made a mermaid outfit before. So I was like, I think I have a good concept. I have a sewing machine. Let's just go for it. And Sonia was so great. She came over for multiple fittings and, we have this little dinky bra top on her. She was totally down to just, really jump in and go along with this. And yeah, it turned out really great.
No, it looked amazing. It looked like something that I was like, oh, this is like a $10,000 budget.
What about
video.
the clay? So have you been doing that?
No, that was my first time.
What?
Yeah.
It looks so tight.
It was just a matter of trial and error. The teeth were the toughest thing because they had to actually like fit together.
But can you draw? Good.
I can draw okay.
Yeah, because I can tell like with certain things, like just people have like a little bit more of a, creative. Because like I can't draw for shit.
Well,
so
originally,
like shit.
before I got into film, I did want to be an animator. That was kind of my first passion was drawing, and I wanted to work for Disney. And then I picked up a camera at like age 8 and just never looked back. Started editing the summer before high school, and during high school, started working I worked at PBS for a minute.
Nice. Do you know Jeremy Halal?
No,
Okay.
I don't
Remember
really
Jeremy
remember
from
anybody from
Cashman?
PBS.
Yeah, he. I think him and John Lloyd worked at PBS for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I was there my senior year. That was my first job. And then after that, I just instead of going to college, I did a job for NBC for Channel 3. I did an in-studio camera for them, and then I did live event coverage for the Rebel games. And I think all of that stuff kind of contributed to kind of how I was able to learn to edit, and do the visual effects and things like that.
100%.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, how did you guys get those jobs at Channel 8? And was it from UNLV or the school you went to? Like, was it like a little intern thing?
I went to LVA, so it was like a paid internship.
Oh, nice.
that's so
LVA,
tight.
that's the art school, right?
Yeah.
And that's
art
like
music
downtown.
school?
Yeah. My sister went there for a little bit,
Yeah.
but then she went to CSN.
I was supposed to go there, but then I was like, nah, never mind. I suck at music too.
Wait, does LVA have a film program, right?
Well, so the first year I went there, they didn't. I was going there for art, and then they were saying they introduced a broadcast journalism major, and so I did that the last 3 years.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and
I gotta ask you. So you're on your computer right now. What are the 3 pieces of software that you're using like the most that pop up that just you don't even close a tab on because they're gonna stay open?
I use Premiere, After Effects, and Photoshop. Pretty much.
So it's all Adobe.
That's my holy trinity.
Are you on a Mac or PC?
PC. Sorry, Mac.
Oh, you're a Mac.
I'm on a Mac. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say because usually when you're on a PC, actually a PC is more for like Adobe and stuff like that, right? They say that Premiere or what's it called, Final Cut works faster on Macs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that would make
100%.
sense.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
legitimately like much faster. Like if you try to render like 4K footage, you can do like 10 layers on Final Cut without any lag.
Really.
But then I love Premiere, man. But man, I'm telling you, that little beach ball of death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it like 4
It can be
times
buggy.
today editing my video.
Yeah.
I kept saying like, oh, error compiling video. So I like tried to do
When you're trying to
timelines.
export it, bro, why is that the
It's
most
the
annoying
worst.
thing?
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I was looking at DaVinci and I was like, oh, I'm gonna switch because I was looking on like they actually use the GPU and CPU equally. Premiere's just CPU based still, and the thing with Premiere, I swear they just always have issues.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I got it, and I was like, damn, I don't want to learn this shit.
See, but we get premiered for free because our jobs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So we
true.
also don't pay for it.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But man, what was I was gonna say? I forgot where I was going with this. I had something before you started
Sorry.
talking and you cut me off. Way
Sorry.
to go, Chuck.
You're welcome. That's probably pointless. So let's move on.
Let's talk
More
about
you.
let's talk about the experience of shooting the video for or working with Sonia. You guys had done the Kickstarter video as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was that something? How long did that take you guys to come up, kind of like storyboard and create before you actually filmed it? And did it come out exactly the way you wanted it to?
The first time we had some audio issues that we didn't realize until we watched the footage back. But it actually worked out because, that gave us time to sort of rework some of the script. And the meat of it really was just kind of talking about what she was trying to raise money for. So it was pretty easy.
I love that video too.
I'm a big fan of Tim and Eric, so that's sort of my inspiration for that. Yeah. But
that editing style.
yeah, and then also that kind of helped like acquaint us with the spacecraft and shooting there and figuring out how to use that space. So
We really loved the concept too of leveling up. That was her Kickstarter kind of campaign and helping her level up to be the better artist and having the equipment that she needs and doing all that stuff. So it was like, cool. We feel like we're leveling up too, because then we get to, participate with local artists and, get to shoot her video, which then led to being able to shoot Violent Water. It's really cool.
Which was so good.
Nice. Yeah, we would love that music video. That's going to be our kind of like go-to reference whenever we tell an artist, all right, so you guys want a $10,000 budget video? That's what you can do with $10,000.
We're just gonna make up a number.
and then we'll hire you guys, and then we'll split the money up.
yeah, sure.
We're gonna take
Finder's fee.
Well, we've been talking about doing like a third one because Paige's video was like a Western theme. It was sort of like a throwback to John Wayne movies, and it's technically dedicated to Ricky Nelson. That's why his name is on the tombstone at the end. And then, Sonia's video is like a fantasy mermaid thing based on George Méliès and Ferdinand Zecca and old, like 100-year-old short films. George Méliès is sort of like the pioneer of special effects. So we were trying to pay homage to that and use a lot of those techniques, double exposure and things like that. So we have an idea, at least for the next video, to maybe round it out, kind of have it be a trilogy. And do something sort of like a Star Wars.
Little space theme.
Yo,
Star
I was
Wars.
just about to say that.
Yeah.
So we're actually a band, and we're gonna ask you guys to film our video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the sun. He's gonna be the moon.
All right, there we go.
It's a whole hand, the whole entire video.
Do the face in the moon, yeah.
So the band's called Morning Dinner then.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, the band's
Funky
working.
Fluid.
It's called Funky Fluids.
Funky Fluids.
we have yet to record anything
All right.
or write anything.
But it's even better as an imaginary band
Yeah.
because you can
Yeah,
just
right.
imagine.
Yeah. We're
production
trying to make it one of those things where like we just talk about doing it
Yeah.
for the longest time to where one day like, oh yeah, the band broke up, we couldn't really get to it.
Yeah, that's fun.
We just kept bumping heads.
So real quick, you guys, is music videos, would you say is your specialty? That's what you want to do with your careers? What are you thinking?
There's a mix of everything.
Because I know for me that I would love to do music video. Like if I had $1 billion in the bank, right, I would just be traveling the world doing portraits, like photography, like creative gel lighting, and I would be doing music videos because I feel those
For
are
your
where
favorite
I really,
artist.
Yeah, for my favorite artists, right?
100%.
For music that I like.
It's a nice in, but I don't think it's what we want to do for the rest of our careers.
Yeah.
If you look at like David Fincher or Michael Bay, they came from Propaganda Films, which is like a really well-known music video company that just started a lot of people's careers back in the day. It's definitely not a bad way to go, but I think we definitely have our sights set on doing features.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle Gondry and like Spike Jonze. Like if you watch that Far Side video, or he also did one recently for Apple that won a whole bunch of
that Apple
awards.
commercial.
Wait, you talking about the Far Side video we did backwards?
Yeah, everything was back.
Right? So cool.
Spike Jonze is just that dude.
I got that DVD with all his music videos
Love
and
it.
stuff, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Him, Christopher Webb, and I think somebody else.
Chris Cunningham has one on there.
He's crazy. Yeah, but Michelle Gondry. I don't know if you guys know a little bit about Michelle Gondry, but
I've heard her name before.
Yeah.
he is. He's done a lot of Bjork's videos.
White Stripes.
White Stripes.
Did he do the Lego one?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I have these 3 DVDs with all those videos because those are my favorite videos watching on like MTV.
Yeah.
I was always like, that is so tight.
He's totally an inspiration too, absolutely, for what we were trying to do. But with this next one, we don't have an artist for it yet, but want to do like a Star Wars type of thing, and kind of how we implored like Star stop motion effects and things like that. We want to do like motion controlled camera, miniatures, spaceships that you basically have shot on a green screen, do things like that. And I'm thinking,
when you say motion control camera, you mean like the
big ass arm?
The big ass arm that's automated and does those cameras.
Right, and I don't know if we'd have the budget for that. Yeah. We might actually have to just put the thing on.
I think they rent for like $5,000 a day.
Oh, no way.
Or 7 days.
No big deal.
No, so if you guys need $5,000, just let us know. Pull it out of the morning dinner budget.
I was literally thinking about buying one because like I think they have like a not market value one.
What a flex!
But no, like take out a loan, struggle, try to like. I mean, it's like what, 91,000. So it's probably like 120,000 after all the stuff you have to buy for it.
You wanna know what's crazy is that DJI is gonna do the exact same thing for like 1,200 next year,
or newer.
I think technology is getting crazier and like cheaper, every day. Like you used to have like a 30,000 Steadicam rig to get semi-steady footage back in the day. Now you can just get like a Ronin S for $400 or $500, and you're solid. Granted, there's a lot of takeaways you can't do exactly as you could back in the day, but
do you guys feel like that's a bad thing, or do you actually enjoy that?
That it's accessible to people.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
It's a great thing.
Yeah. I mean, the more people that can express themselves creatively, I mean, why not? I mean, we shot Violent Water on an A7S II, the Sony camera, and it's relatively inexpensive. It's just a couple $1,000, and we got the look that we wanted, and we didn't have to, use an Arri Alexa or anything super crazy. It's super accessible for us, and it worked within our budget,
Yeah.
Are you a big Steadyman guy, Danny?
Like using a Steadicam?
Steadicam?
Or handheld?
Handheld?
It just depends. It just depends on the video. I love a good tracking shot. We were just watching De Palma's, what was it, Femme Fatale the other day?
Femme Fatale.
Not a great movie, but he does some incredible Steadicam work in that movie. Pretty much every single shot is in motion. Everything is.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think one of the things that kind of gets my attention whenever I'm watching a movie is when I notice like they haven't edited. There's no cut in here yet,
right?
Yeah.
And it's been like 4 or 5 minutes. Like whoa,
Well, he does it without even really drawing attention to it, which is amazing.
Totally.
He kind of just lets the shot play out, and the camera will move from one spot to another, and you don't get this sense. It's not like the tracking shot in Goodfellas where it's moving through the kitchen and you're basically following behind two people. It's really drawing attention to itself. He basically is moving the camera instead of cutting.
Yeah.
So instead of like cutting to something across the room, he just moves the camera across the room.
Damn, that's kind of dope.
When somebody comes in through a door, he follows them through the door instead of cutting to outside.
And it's difficult to do. I mean, was it Alfred Hitchcock in Rear Window did he did a whole tracking shot, and just the staging of the entire scene, that in itself is super complicated, because if you're in an audience and you're watching the movie and it takes you completely out just by noticing these camera moves, it's like, oh dang.
Yeah.
It kind of takes you out of that element,
Have you seen the Reservoir Dogs table scene where they're sitting around the table? As the intro, I think, right?
And they're talking about Tip and the waitress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I love it when it's like it's nonstop and you can just tell it's like that's part of the thing that sells you into like, oh, now I'm in this world, as opposed to like, oh, there's an edit. I'm watching a movie. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But when you watch something that's one take and they're acting as if like there's no like, oh, line. What's my line? It's very fluid. That really sells you on the whole, movie.
Well, Reservoir Dogs is really interesting because you can definitely see that Tarantino is still feeling out his own style in that movie. So and in that case, it's a little bit more unwieldy, and it has this sort of it has a more rough feel to it, which I like.
Raw.
I love it. Yeah.
So, I'm still watching The Hateful Eight. Have you seen that, Chuck?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I'm on like
I like
the
those
third
types
episode.
of movies because
I can't
I'm
wait
even
for the
like
new one.
that's the one thing like I like and I wanted to ask this too, was the screenwriting. Like, how'd you learn that, or script? What is script writing? Screenwriting? What's
screenwriting?
Screenwriting.
If you find a good enough program, it kind of formats it for you.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. I've used Celtics and Final Draft. And
Okay.
They're both very like user friendly for being able to just.
But you still read scripts or like looked over some, or how'd you like learn?
I don't really write a lot. When I was writing that script for my first feature, it was a mess, and I hope that it is never read by anyone. But when it comes down to it, I feel like you just need experience. And I feel like if we went back to write a script now, I think we'd have a better idea of at least how we want to approach it.
Yeah.
Because like I love dialogue movies. I think Clerks. Like I love going back to Clerks because it's such a good movie to me. Because like I was young, and I wasn't really into like a lot of movies. But when I watched it, I was like, why is this so interesting? And it was like black and white in a fucking, what is it?
In a
corner
like,
store,
yeah,
supermarket,
basically. Yeah.
Dude, I still haven't seen Clerks, any of them.
They're just it's a different type of vibe for sure.
Yeah.
But it's like
I still haven't seen Goodfellas.
Wow.
I know, man.
Wow.
People have been giving me shit for that one.
You gotta watch it, man. You gotta watch it. So good.
Have you guys seen Seven Psychopaths? What do you guys think about that movie?
She's
It's been a while.
Black, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
I was one of my favorite movies ever, but I completely forgot what it was about. But I keep telling myself to rewatch it.
I remember he's writing a script, and I remember Harry Dean Stanton shows up in it at one point.
There's like a graveyard
mysterious
scene.
Man, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's just it's awesome when you have like a great cast too, right? Like
Definitely.
we've talked about it where like you can be the world's greatest like editor, cinematographer. If your acting isn't on par, it won't add up, right?
Yeah, no, but you got to give your actors dialogue that is believable, you know, and you can't have them trying to put on, you know, some sort of a. It's tough. It really just depends. I feel like if you can cast a person who's very comfortable being themselves on camera, then you're halfway there.
Christopher Walken.
Right. Christopher
Walken,
Walken
like literally is just himself.
He is. Yeah,
Every
totally.
movie.
But it's great. It's
That's
wonderful.
so tight.
And actually, some of his earlier movies, like Heaven's Gate, it's before his Walkenisms really like, you know, sort of settled in, and so he's very, I don't know, vibrant in some of his older movies. Pennies from Heaven. He's in some good stuff.
Yeah. You guys gotta give me that list of movies.
Oh, there's a
more than
lot of
happy
good
to do
stuff
that.
out there.
Yeah.
So then
Is it on a paper? Sorry. Huh? Okay.
It's a numbers.
Sorry, bro.
I keep trying to segue into. I'm gonna forget what I'm talking about pretty soon.
Bro.
So we keep kind of hitting this topic of like finding your style, finding your niche, and how have you guys like realized that you found what it is you want to do and how you want to do it already, or are you guys still kind of like searching and feeling it out as far as your style in filming and editing and producing?
We're still feeling it out.
Yeah.
I definitely know what I like, and I know what I don't like.
And I'm not like an expert opinion on being a producer, you know, I'm just learning as I go. And, you know, what you said about like, how do you approach writing scripts? There's really no one right or wrong way to do that. You know, I think about Robert Rodriguez. When he had an idea,
so dope.
Right, great director. When he had an idea when he was making El Mariachi, he just had ideas for different scenes and he wrote them on note cards, and then he just expanded out from there and was like, cool, I want this to happen. And then he just rearranged them, and he didn't even write it in script format. He just had an idea. I know Quentin Tarantino just talks about all of his scripts he wants them to read like novels, you know, he wants them to just be this great story that you can sit down and read, and I don't know, you can just bring your own style to it. Yeah,
he's very, I mean, obviously he has like a very high standard. He says basically you would want to be able to publish, he would want to be able to publish his script as a book, as a novel, before he even tries to make it a movie.
And Tarantino's a whole nother level.
He's a whole nother level, yeah.
But, I think we're still just trying to figure it out, you know, like as we do these music videos, like especially with Sonia's video, it was so great to be able to collaborate with the people that we did. I forgot to mention him earlier, but all of our matte paintings that were done in there were done by a really awesome local graffiti artist. His name's Matt Painter. And he goes by Black 57. That's his painter tag name, a graffiti tag name.
Murphy.
I'm sorry. That's right. Matt Murphy. But yeah, Black 57 is his tag name. But he did a lot of local art here in town, and we couldn't have done any of those backgrounds without him, you know. And the next video we want to collaborate with more people, because it was us 3 as crew, and we worked with 25 in the cast. So the more that we can work with, like, awesome. Let's just open up the floodgates and collaborate with as many people as possible.
So then I kind of want to, that brings me to my next question is like, how do you guys find people to collaborate with? Is it all social media? Is it community driven? Like, how do you decide, hey, this is Chuck, I like him and I like working with him? How do you guys find these people?
Is that cool? Sonia was really great and integral in this last one, because she hit me up and she's like, I want all my friends to be in it. So she sent me text messages of different people in Las Vegas. So we had our sailors that we needed for the video, and then we also had like our ghost fairies, and they were all like local entrepreneurs of the community. So, you know, you had Kelly on your podcast a couple of weeks ago. She was in the video. We had Cameron Detman, who was on your podcast. He was one of our sailors in the last one.
Yeah, I've seen some familiar faces.
Yeah, so a lot of different artists. She just said, hey, all these people would be interested. So I just reached out and just said, hey, we're doing this music video. Would you like to get involved? You're going to have to wear eyeliner. So I did all their makeup. A lot of guys.
You guys were everything.
Yeah, so, you know, the guys had to get the eyeliner put on, and that was probably really uncomfortable for them. But they did it, right? And it came out, so, yeah.
I think the important thing was kind of just illustrating to them like what we were going for, you know, and the eyeliner thing was more because we were trying to do like stage makeup. You know?
Yeah.
But you want to tell them about the short film that we got kind of in the works?
Dang, you guys hit my next topic. I was just about to ask you what's coming up in 2019, 2020. What are you guys looking forward to doing?
Yeah, so the short film idea is kind of based off of when we came back from Thailand in 2013. I was working a bunch of odd jobs, so I know Chuck, you said that you work at Sapphires, so that kind of just got my brain running a little bit. But I actually worked at a phone call service here in town, and they commissioned strippers out to local casinos and hotel rooms. They weren't just strippers, though. They definitely did. They were. It was an escort service. So I was one of the local call girls for this escort service, and I didn't do anything crazy over the phone, but I was basically the middleman between sending out strippers to these gentlemen's or sometimes women's rooms. And are
you talking about those buses that drive on the strip that goes girls direct to your room or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But it was more of a racket, though. You can't even begin to believe that. We'd post on it was a website called Backpage.com. It's no longer in existence. They
that
seized
name
it.
is just bad.
All right, Backpage.com.
I've heard of that website.
Yeah.
I've been on it.
Yeah, right. Uh-oh.
Okay. I hate you so much, Chuck. I'm so sorry. Please continue.
No, it's great. The website's no longer on. I guess the FBI seized it the last time I tried to go visit it. But
yeah.
So you post ads, and then you would, for Candy or Summer or Jennifer, and there are these pictures of women, and unfortunately we as a service would take people's Instagram photos offline. It was totally illegal, right? We take their pictures offline and post them as these real women, so when the guys would call in, they think that they're talking to Summer, but they're actually talking to me, and so I'd be putting on like a fake voice.
Did you have to change it every single time?
The voice? Yeah. Pretty much, but a lot of the times, like if you're a guy and you see a picture of somebody and you talk to them over the phone, you don't even know who they are. And then my responsibility was if they called for these girls that were in the pictures, they weren't employed by us, so then we would just send random girls to their rooms that weren't even the women in the pictures.
Whoa,
it's a crazy racket. So the whole short film is around that idea.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so it's around that idea, and just like. What it's like to be a call girl in Las Vegas. It's probably going to mostly be a comedy, I would say. But
it's a film, not a documentary, right?
It's a fiction.
It's a short film.
Yeah.
So what was Tangerine about?
Oh, you guys seen Tangerine, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was first phone or it's on an iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was essentially just show. It was. I don't even think it had a specific title, goal to it. It was kind of like very casual film, just kind of following the life of a couple of transgender people and the kind of things that they go through, giving you insight on that community. I love it. I love that movie. I watched it like 3 times already.
Oh, and it moves. The momentum of that movie, it just keeps going. Every second there's a new thing happening.
Is that kind of what you guys are like gonna follow? Like not follow, but something in those lines? Understand?
To be honest, we'd really love to incorporate the tricks that we've been doing in these music videos too. So we'd love to have some type of dream sequence, We're still in the process of writing it, so I guess it hasn't fully taken form yet, but we know the idea and the concept behind it, and we know we want to integrate some of these tricks that we've done before too. Well,
if you guys need any PAs,
if you guys ever need help.
That's dope. I would love to get my credit on my IMDb credit on there. Are you guys gonna have it like? Are you guys gonna make this like an IMDb thing?
Well, we're on IMDb. You can check us out on there. We'll definitely be entering it into festivals and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's still very much in its infancy. We just started talking about it.
And you guys probably said it, but I didn't hear. Is it full length or is it going to be like?
It's going to be a short.
Short.
Yeah, definitely.
Just going to keep it. I mean,
what does short mean? 15 or 30 or?
We're going to aim for like 15, I feel like.
But I think short, they consider anything below 40 minutes now. I mean, there's some really long shorts,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'd be watching on Vimeo is shorts.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite place to go to because there's some really good people on Vimeo. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
A lot of people have gotten their start through shorts. The guy who did
The Lights?
The lights short film, the horror one where it's like
Lights Out.
The Lights Out. Yeah, Lights Out.
People keep
What's
talking
his
about
name?
that.
Yeah.
Andy
Such a simple
or Adam
thing.
I don't remember his name, but Ari Aster is the one that we've been
Soderbergh.
paying.
I think his name is Andy Soderbergh or Adam
just making
Sandberg.
stuff up, bro.
Yeah,
A
probably.
mashup.
I'm gonna butcher
Related to
his name.
Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah, right?
That's probably where I got it from.
No, Ari Aster, though, the one who did Hereditary, he started with shorts. And I don't know. I'm very excited to see what his next movie.
That movie was so good.
How his next movie turns
tripped
out.
me out.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah.
It's disturbing.
After you showed me all that, I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. And then I watched it and I felt so weird. When I watch a movie, I like it, but when I'm done with the movie and I feel kind of like gross, I'm like, ooh, I just don't feel good right now.
Yeah. It's not typical.
I'm like,
horror.
do I hate this?
Yeah.
Or do I like it?
Yeah.
See, that's what I like. That's what I think makes a good horror film. Because like we get horror movies all the time.
Like I can scare you
the
anytime.
Nun. You get the Nun. You get the La Llorona movie that came out. They're kind of built on jump scares and all that kind of thing. But like what I like about a horror movie is when it can make you feel like, oh, that's something that very, very well could happen. Like somebody breaking into your house, like, you know what I mean, or like putting you in a situation that's relatable.
I did like Veronica though. I
didn't see that.
I liked
Veronica was pretty good. It was filmed. It took place in what was it?
Mexico? Tijuana?
Spain. It was in Spain.
Oh, was it in Spain?
It was in Spain. And what I like about it was that it's a horror film that's kind of built on an actual real story. And it was the first
Exorcism,
ever. It was the first ever documented, like on a police report. The reason for the disturbance that they called it is paranormal activity. Like they didn't have they couldn't describe what happened there. You guys should, it's on Netflix, I think. You guys should check it out.
They definitely hit like old classic horror film, like the music, the angles. Like I love that, like old Halloween.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, because I think I grew up with those because my dad watches so many movies.
Yeah.
I just remember being like having bad dreams every single night because he'd just make me watch these movies. But they're actually interesting now because I'm actually like, ooh.
And it's all in Spanish.
Spanish.
I try to do the accent where they do in Spain, where it's like Spain.
Yeah.
That sounds like that did not come out right.
Oh my god, that sounds like Mike Tyson.
I kind of hit
Spanish.
I kind of hit all the talking points that I kind of want to talk to you guys, man. Do you guys want to plug yourselves? Kind of give away people your social media where they can find you.
We're on IMDb. Danny Chandia.
Rachel Johnson, and I'm on Instagram at Rachie J with 3 E's. But we're just looking forward to, we want to work with more people. So if, you want to collaborate, hit us up on there.
Let them know.
Dope. Thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're going to put both of your IMDb's on the bio for the video, for iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. But yeah, everybody who's tuning in, who watched the live stream or is checking it out on iTunes and Spotify, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys in the next morning dinner.
Every time I come in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. In the goddamn refrigerator.
I sure am hungry.